Blessings, everyone. I am Monica Lewis Patrick. I have the honor and privilege of serving the citizens of Detroit every day as the CEO and president of We the People of Detroit. I also serve as the representative for the city of Detroit for the World Water Justice Council, where everyone on the council represents a country but me. I represent the city of Detroit. But that should also say to us how significant Detroit is in this water struggle. When you got up this morning, you probably brushed your teeth, washed your face, took a shower, made your tea or coffee or oatmeal, and washed your dishes and flushed your toilet, and maybe bathed your children or mopped your floor. All of those things took water. Well, in the city of Detroit since 2012, there have been over 100,000 people shut off from water. And they don't know how many people have been restored. As of 2015, Gary Brown sent out a report that said that over 20,000 people had been shut off and then put into a payment plan. And only roughly about 700 of them were able to maintain that payment plan. We sit on 1/5 of the world's fresh water. 23% of the commerce that comes into the country comes in by way of Detroit. Now, as there was a master narrative created about how there was pervasive corruption, black folks couldn't lead themselves, leadership had failed in this city, people left out of that narrative the role that the emergency management had played. People left out of that conversation the role that racism had played. Because as they came and destroyed our schools, and they came and stole pensions, many of the people in the state of Michigan sat silent. Now, there was massive organizing around defeating emergency management, but as the state representatives will tell you, they came in the dark of night and overturned 2 years of work that had happened all across the state of Michigan. DWSD at one point, and this is why our work has been so significant, had provided water to about 3.8 million Michiganders. About half the state of Michigan got its water from the city of Detroit. Detroit, up until the 90s, had an award-winning water department. At one point, it had been one of the best, well-managed water systems in the world. And when it was under local control, we never poisoned anybody. But under state control, under emergency management, as we were going down this road of contrived bankrupting of the city, what you begin to have to do is connect the dots. Flint was poisoned because in its haste to move Detroit quickly toward taking from the citizens of Detroit, the same company that is advising around the world the privatization of water, Veolia, was advising Detroit to privatize its internal operations. It also advised Flint that it could drink from a river that if you just looked at it, you knew it wasn't fit to drink from. Veolia also has its hands in the M1 rail. They also have their hands in the privatization of public education. The DeVos family is directly connected to Veolia. The DeVos family is also a part of the privatization of trash collection. They now control Rizzo Trash. So as we're having these conversations about both sides of the aisle, be you Democrat or be you Republican, we have to talk about the fact that both representatives of both sides of the aisle have been duplicitous in what has happened in the city of Detroit. Now, I can say it because I'm an activist and I'm not seeking any political office. But we've got to do some truth-telling time up in here. Because what happened in Detroit has set legal precedents for it to happen all across the state of Michigan and all across the country. We are very concerned about the fact that in this city, we have a mayor that's still agreeing that they should be able to shut off water to poor people that can't afford it. There was a report that just came out about 2 weeks ago from Michigan State that says that 35% of America will not be able to afford its water within the next 5 years. Right now, 12.4% of America cannot afford their water. But what was the narrative you were told about Detroit? That we were just fat, happy, and lazy? That we just didn't want to pay our fair share? I think Mr. Brown on several occasions told you we'd rather pay cable bills. Well, that's why my organization went door to door. We began to organize all across this city to gain our own assessment of how people were impacted with water shutoffs. We also had to challenge a judge who said he knew that it would create imminent harm by shutting off water, but he was very comfortable with that because they were very committed to this comeback of the 7.2 miles of downtown Detroit. So then we organized 42 researchers and 6 universities because we understood that sometimes when they won't listen to the activists, they'll listen to the academics. So as we convened them, what we recognized is that the governor could seize our data. So then we partnered with academics outside the state of Michigan. And so one of our healthcare coordinators is Nadia Gabriel. She's a PhD student at UC Berkeley. And she has come up with a very creative mechanism for assessing for a man-made disaster, such as water shutoffs. And that research has already been calculated and assessed, and so we will be coming out with that report in the next couple of weeks. But that data, along with our water shutoff data, has also been adjoined to Henry Ford Health System and the Global Health Initiative. And so what they've done is they've done a comparative analysis of hospitalizations and ER visits with water shutoff data that we've collected. And that information is going to be earth-shattering, almost to the same degree of what you heard about Flint. Our work has extended to Flint because there is no separation. What we know and what we believe and what we hope everyone in this room is committed to is that water is a human right. That right must be preserved and protected. Stephanie Chain is going to be presenting several pieces of legislation over the next couple of weeks and months, along with her colleagues from Flint and also from Highland Park. There are 15 pieces of legislation that deal with some aspect of the human right to water or the infrastructure system that's related to our water. We also know that there's only about $1.74 trillion that will be allocated for the water infrastructure of this country. Actually, to be able to totally restore that system, we would need $3 trillion. So what that says to us as activists is that the corporate and the financial markets have already made decisions that some people will drink and others won't. What I'm hoping you will do is that you will embrace the ideology that everyone should drink, that everyone has a right to water, and that we must understand that we are intricately connected to one another. You may have water at your home, but if you're interfacing with the public that does not, then the probability of you becoming sick is very probable. I live in a community where this past summer, 22 houses on my block were shut off from water. The other piece that's going to be critical is people are not adjoining the fact that the pensioners that stayed and paid 80% of the bankruptcy was on their backs. So now those people not only have lost a major portion of their pensions, they've also lost a significant portion of their health care. So the people that stayed and paid and weathered the storm, they no longer can continue to pay and stay and weather the storm. And so one of the things that we've learned over and over as activists is we can't wait on anybody to rescue us. We're not holding our breath that it's going to come from Lansing or it's going to come from DC. We've always come from people in the city of Detroit that understood self-determination, understood cooperative work, understood that we have to build from within and then build out. And so I'm asking you to definitely follow our page, We the People of Detroit. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Our email is wethepeopleofdetroit@gmail.com. If you want to stay plugged into water work in the city of Detroit and the region, definitely plug into the People's Water Board. We also, on that page, will be giving out notices of our regional and national work because we're going to need your support. And as the mayor of this city, one of the greatest mayors in the history of this city said, Coleman Alexander Young, if you find a good fight, get in it. Well, I can tell you this water fight is that fight, and I would strongly suggest that you get in it.